cases of buildings collapsing were blamed on negligence and corruption. And as KTN's Asha Mulu now reports, perhaps the Makongeni case could have been avoided if Kenyans were keen on implementing safety regulations.
The Makongeni building collapse could easily appear like an isolated incident of neglect. But the case only reignites a deeper conversation in Kenya's history. It's the same conversation that was prompted in June 2012 when a building collapsed in Mlolongo, killing 6 people. And in September the previous year when a 5-story building tumbled down in Ruaraka. Alfred Omenya, an associate professor of architecture, says Kenyans are yet to see the worst of it.
The problem is huge sections of these cities that are being built without professionals. And why is that going on? It is going on because their officers allow it to happen. It is going on because of gross corruption in there. It is going on because they imagine enforcement is simply collecting various fees from professionals who are themselves adhering to the law.
Like many experts in urban planning, Alfred says the challenge is in the poor implementation of existing laws and regulations.
You see flouting of existing regulations in terms of buildings that are not approved. You see flouting of regulations in terms of not adhering to building processes. You see flouting of regulations in terms of buildings coming up with no professionals involved.
The first bylaws for building development controls were introduced in 1926 by the colonial government. In 1948, these controls were replaced by the Nairobi City Council bylaws, which introduced planning and zoning. Decades later, in 1995, a few local authorities adopted Code 95, which saw the reduction of building costs, new innovative designs, and use of local material. But it wasn't until 1996, when Sunbeam Building collapsed in Nairobi, that the government formed a commission of inquiry to probe safety procedures in construction. The recommendations gathered dust as negligence and the love of shortcuts saw more building collapsing and more Kenyans dying. In 2009, a special committee was established to harmonize planning and building laws and regulations.
When the work is complete, they're meant to inspect the work and feel that, yes, this building is suitable for human occupation and issue that occupation certificate. But if you ask the Nairobians, I think we're talking about, 20-30% of buildings that are approved. But if you ask the ones with occupation certificate, I think the number is headed towards 1%.
And as the years pass, the conversation of what happened, who's to blame, and what should be done continues. Yet little is done to hold those liable to account. Asha Mulu, KTN, Nairobi.